Hey, it's Kim Komando today, your daily podcast to keep you up to date with all things digital and beyond. And I'd love to have you be a part of our podcast. You can make an appointment to speak with me. Just head over to Komando.com, and on the top right, there's a button that says Email Kim. Fill that out, and that's it. I always like to start with something interesting to grab your attention. And as Meta stock is tanking, they actually told their staff that the reason why they're tanking is that maybe everybody's not being as productive as they should be. And we need you to increase your productivity by 200%. Meanwhile, over at Google, they announced a new effort called the Simplicity Sprint. Wow, the Simplicity Sprint. What they're looking for ideas from, it's 174,000 employees on where to focus and improve efficiency. The CEO says Google's productivity as a company isn't where it needs to be given to its headcount. Wow, what does that tell you? So the tech companies are saying, you better start doing more, getting more productive or else. And so I will tell you, we all have our productive days. My most productive days are Monday and Tuesday. After that, it's WTF. And on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the Kim Komando Show. It's your most trusted source about all things digital. It's the largest show about all things digital. You can find us on over 420 top stations. Of course, we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando. But if you've learned just one thing from us, I would like you to at least consider becoming a Komando community member. It costs just a few bucks a month. You get 30 days free. And with that, you get the podcast, the webcast, commercial free, 3 months worth of archives, and you get to use our Q&A tech forum. And we'd love for you to do that. We have discounts for seniors, military, service personnel. The address to sign up is at getkim.com. And a special thank you goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, our servicemen and women in the Army, the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force, who are protecting our great nation as I speak. All right, every single day I drop by at least 30 to 40 different websites to make sure that I can keep up to date on everything that's happening in the tech industry so that this way I can pass along the things for you so that this way you quickly know what's going on. So it's my service to you. And this is part of the show where I like to talk about future tech, things that are happening. But for this first story, we have to go back in time to 1970, the Osaka Expo. A bath was automatically filled with hot water once a person sat down in this chamber. And then there were 300 massage balls that massaged the body, and then supersonic waves got rid of dirt. And then it dried the occupant, and the whole cycle took about 15 minutes. Now, that was what they called the human washing machine. And it's making a comeback with more tech than ever. So with this one, you have to imagine you lounge down in this capsule, okay? And then the water is full. It's almost like you're in a lounge chair. And then you're blasted with water and micro bubbles that remove the grime from all the pores in your skin. Now, inside there are sensors. And the sensors, for example, measure your heart rate. And there are other sensors that monitor your nervous system to see how relaxed you are while they are showing you certain videos on a water-resistant display. So imagine, so you're in this tub and you're getting washed by these micro bubbles. And all of this data is going to be saved. Of course it is. It's going to be used to train artificial intelligence that's going to choose the most relaxing content for the bather. They say they're going to wash the mind as well as the body. It's going to be out in a few years. Just wonder what the spin cycle is going to be like. Number 2 in our list of 5 things in future tech is the mouse is going to be tracking you a lot more in the future. I mean, who doesn't love Disney parks, Pirates of the Caribbean, Splash Mountain, It's a Small World. Ooh, I know. Now that song is stuck in your head after all. The Disney CEO, Bob Chapek, was talking to the Wall Street Journal, and they said they're going to be tracking visitors a lot more in the near future. If you're on Disney Plus, he said, we should be aware of what happened, what you experienced, what you liked the last time you visited a park, and vice versa. And when you're a park, we should know what you're watching on Disney Plus. So why all the tracking? Disney wants to give each person a tailored experience based on what they watch, where they go, and so that this way people will be more loyal to Disney than anybody else ever, which they think they already are, after all. Number 3 in our list of 5 things is Apple iCloud is about to get an overhaul. If you use Apple products and you have an iCloud account, you know it's not the most user-friendly, but it gets the job done. When you lose your phone, you can find it, have it make a sound. I had a chance to play around with the new beta version of the new iCloud interface, and I'll tell you, it's a lot easier to use. There Now, launchers on the site, you can use your iCloud to maybe write an email, make appointments right there in a web browser. It also has a new data recovery tool. Now, the overhaul is really good for people who only have an iPhone because now you can actually use your web browser to do things on your phone, get your data back, as I mentioned, find your phone when it's stuck in between the couch cushions. I bought my 5-year-old nephew a toy iPhone so he could play around with. And wouldn't you know it, when he started getting calls that his Little Tykes car warranty was expiring. Number 4 on our list of 5 things in future tech is AI is going to be taking your job. Let's say you have the perfect job listing. You find it over at LinkedIn and you have your resume all done, the cover letter, and you're thinking, wow, this is really it for me. Well, there's no guarantee that a human is actually going to see what you submit because a lot of companies are now using AI to speed along the hiring process. So this means just filtering things out. Now, it is causing concern for discrimination, some from facial recognition to trouble registering dark skin, other systems partial, maybe to only choosing male candidates. Now, other AI job screening tools use algorithms, try to gauge your emotional state based on facial expressions. So now, more than ever, I want you to pay close attention to your resume, your application, your videos, and if you are doing a Zoom interview, make sure that you just come across happy and confident. Yes, I love this job, and I'm always emotionally stable. And last, there is this number 5, a dramatic new space race is in the works. Russia, the then Soviet Union, put the first person in space, then we put the first person on the moon. Well, now we have a new space race going. Russia has recently shot the first movie in space called Challenge. It happened on the International Space Station. And now another movie is supposed to be filmed on the ISS. This one is starring Tom Cruise. It's a $200 million project backed by NASA and Elon Musk, SpaceX. And Tom Cruise, it's not going to be a big deal. It's just going to tape a segment of the film while suspended weightlessness aboard the ISS. The project is still in its early stages. No release date, no launch date is known. But Tom Cruise actually does his own stunts. But taking that into space, that could be risky business, but definitely not a mission impossible. All right, I know that was bad. Stay right where you are. We have more of your phone calls that we're going to be starting with here on the Kim Komando Show. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And just a quick reminder, if you're ever too shy to come on a big-time national radio show or award-winning podcast, that's cool. I get it. You can always send me an email. Komando.com in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. And how about we get started with Kathy in Aiken, South Carolina. Hello there, Kathy.
Hi there. How are you?
Fantastic. What's going on?
Well, I have a question. We mentor, there's a group of professional women that mentors high school girls and get them ready for college. And a lot of things that we talk about is safety. And
Sure.
A lot of girls are concerned about who they actually talk to on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. And
Sure.
It's not safe at all. And identifying predators or somebody that you don't know who they are, is there any way to find out, with a Gmail address or something like that, as simple as that? Is there some way to find out if there is a way to identify that person?
No, not really, because predators are that, and they're very savvy. There is something like a Google reverse image search where if the gals came across somebody who said that they were somebody, they can go to google.com/images and upload an image and see if that image appears anywhere else on the internet. But as far as tying a person's name to an email address, it's virtually impossible for you to do that and to offer that as any type of recommendation.
Right. And high school girls are they're all over the place. They're
Exactly.
seniors in high school. They are vulnerable, whether they want to admit it or not. We try to give them a lot of safety help. And I didn't know if you even had anything that you have published or articles that you have that I could possibly download to help them, to give them as handouts.
I think I have exactly what you need, but you might have to modify it for your needs. Okay. If you go to komando.com/contract, again, that's
Okay.
komando.com/contract. This is a tech contract that I've put out for many years. It's absolutely free. I tell people distribute it, change it, use it, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
And because we need to keep the kids safe. The whole
Oh,
idea behind
yes.
the whole idea behind the tech contract is to walk a person through anything that they may do or see online that may make them susceptible to a predator, to a crazy person, a stalker, whatever it may be.
Yes.
Because you know as
Well,
well as I do is that when you're 18 or 19, probably until you're about 25, nothing bad is really going to happen to you, right? It's like everything's going to
oh,
be
yes.
fine. Everything's going to be great. And then you hit 30 and you're like, whoa, wow, glad I made it through that. And then you hit 40, and then you hit 50, and then suddenly at 50, the check engine light comes on, right? And you're like, okay, here we are. But meanwhile, when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, you have that you think that you're invulnerable. So with the tech contract, and it's really geared for younger kids. That's why I say you're going to have to modify it. But
Hmm.
I walk you through things like don't sext with anybody. And if somebody sexts you, don't text back because whatever you picture, whatever you put on the internet, you don't know where it's going to end up.
Right.
And if somebody comes to you online and says you can make $1 million, you're not. If somebody says that they're your lost friend from grammar school and they want to meet you for coffee, and don't do it unless you bring a friend. If you want to bring a
Right.
friend, maybe. Okay. So it walks through just basic commandments, if you will, to be digitally safe. Now,
That's
that
awesome.
said, I want you to listen to a podcast that I did with a woman about her 18-year-old daughter who got on Tinder. And after 3 months, she dumped the person who she was talking to on Tinder, never ever met this person in person.
Oh, no.
The person on Tinder got ticked off, posted the mother's picture and personal cell phone number on a porn site and said for a good time call.
Mm,
And then the Tinder person started stalking the young woman. She was only 18, sending her things to her dorm room, saying that she looked pretty in the purple outfit, what she had for dinner. Really creepy.
yeah.
And
And
they have arrested. I got involved with the case with a forensics expert. We found out who the guy is, the person is, and I think he's been arrested. But I'd like you to listen to the podcast and maybe share some of this podcast with your teenage gals. And then there's also apps to put on their phone. We put
oh,
together a list of safety apps. So if they need to cross a dark parking lot and they're alone, they can put an app on their phone and they hold down a button while they're walking. And if they get into trouble, they let go of the button on their phone and then it calls 911.
that is
So,
awesome. We do have
so,
police officers on the on our mentor list as well,
mhm,
and even walking, the gait that you have with walking also gives an indicator to a predator as to if you're not sure of where you're going, but if you're confident
sure.
and you're walking and your stride shows that, then they'll leave you alone.
No,
So
that's
there's a
really
lot of things
important.
like you say, but if they're vulnerable, this is our job. We're trying to help this generation out.
So, Kathy, in order to listen to that podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, just search for my last name with a K, Komando, and then you want to get Kim Komando today.
Okay.
And the title of the podcast is "A Woman Was Being Harassed and Stalked: How We Found the Guy." So
Okay.
we're gonna republish that podcast so it will appear at the top of the list.
Thank you so much.
And then let me do this. Um, let's put together. Let me put together some links for you that I'll include
Wow.
the contract, some safety apps, and some other things that I would like you to read, share, modify, whatever you want to do, so that this way you have some more tools to keep these kids safe and these young women, especially, during today's trying times. It's really difficult. You want to be happy and you want to be outgoing, you want to be a college student, but you have to remember that there's just a lot of nutcases and wackos out there that are just waiting for you, and you are their prey. Kathy, thank you so much for your call. It is a great podcast. And just a reminder, wherever you get your podcast, make sure that you search for my podcast. That's Komando with a K. And you be sure that you subscribe or follow so that this way you never miss an episode. All right. Over on the website, I got a great tip about how you can rent a space in your house to social media influencers. Like, for example, a new kitchen in Phoenix rents for about $100 an hour. A Zen garden in Virginia Beach runs for $36 an hour. And they've got names like homestudiolist.com, gigster.com, peerspace.com. So if you have an area in your house you might want to rent out, make sure you check komando.com for all the details. Stay right where you are. We have more of your phone calls and more tips, tricks, and secrets you never, ever want to miss to be tech smart here on The Kim Komando Show. All right, back to all of your fantastic phone calls we go. There's Steve in Pennsylvania.
Well, I'm hoping you can help me. I've read so many possible solutions for this. My head is spinning. I have a 5-year-old iMac that runs very slowly. So when I say slowly, I click an app. It takes 30 seconds to a minute to open, and it's laggy when I'm in it. And I say, well, let's just get rid. I say to my wife, let's just get rid of it because we have a MacBook Air we use, and she says no because we have we have 18,000 family photos on there and our family videos on there. And that's really mostly what we do, a little bit of video editing, maybe some internet, but she doesn't want to get rid of it. And I don't want to use it because it's driving me crazy. So is there a way I can speed this up, or is it just time to get rid of this iMac?
Well, and we're not getting rid of your wife, okay? So we're saying that. All right. See, there could be a lot of things that are going on, but let's just start at the beginning, okay? Number one, you have all this backed up, right?
Yes, correct.
Excellent. Just wanted to make sure that little fun fact was there first. And how about updating the operating system and all the apps and programs and good stuff like that? Have you done that lately?
I'm behind on that. I'm about 2 behind. I think we're running Big Sur on the iMac.
Oh, okay.
And when I go to, I can't even when I go to try to get the update now, it just spins. And it's maybe that's because I'm 2 behind, but it won't even return anything I can install.
Okay. So there could be a hardware issue. There could be too many processes that are going. There could be a program that's consuming a lot of the RAM. So therefore, there's just not enough juice to go around, so to speak. How about, have you done like any type of system clean out lately?
I have not. That's one of the things I was reading. So I've had people there. I know there are a bunch of products you can load, and I did load one last year. I didn't really notice for a year. I had it on there. I didn't notice a whole big difference. Then I've had people say, "Well, you need to upgrade your RAM," and so I don't know. But no, there's nothing on there now that's running to clean it up. To answer your question.
Okay. There is a program that our IT genius John likes to use. It's called Clean My Mac X, and it's by a company called MacPaw. I don't know why they come up with these crazy names. What are we going to call it? MacPaw. All right, whatever. Okay. Much like, I don't know. Anyway, it's about $35, and it will clean out the cache files and the log files, anything that's broken as far as downloaded, unneeded files. Basically, it's going to get rid of all the clutter. And what I'm hoping is that maybe if you get rid of the clutter, that things may run a little faster. If that's not the case, then you probably do need to upgrade the RAM and to see if that would possibly fix the issue. I know I was having problems with one of my iMacs, and John bumped up the RAM, and then everything was just honky-dory after that. And so that would be one way to do it. You also want to remove any unused apps. anything that you're not doing. Look at what's starting up when the Mac starts up and start getting rid of anything that may have, clawed its way into there and you have no idea what's going on. But a 5-year iMac, it sounds old, and it is old, but if these iMacs are properly taken care of, they do last for a really, really long time. So try that program called Clean My Mac X. It's by a company called MacPaw. And if you need help afterwards, just reach back out and we'll take it to the next step and we'll start looking at some hardware issues. But first, let's just clean up the software stuff because that's a heck of a lot easier to get started that way than any other way. And Steve, thanks for your call. That brings up a great topic. When do you know that you actually need a brand new computer? Okay. First of all, the startup and the shutdown are just slow. You're trying to open a few programs at once and then the whole system freezes. You can no longer update your operating system or security software. That's a big one. The fans are noisy. You can't upgrade any hardware anymore because there's going to be compatibility issues. And then you start looking at, do I repair it? Do I upgrade it? And when the cost of repairing or upgrading it is 50% the cost of a brand new computer, that's my role. That's when it's time for you just to go out and buy a brand new gadget, gizmo, device, whatever it may be. Melissa from Bradenton, Florida. Hi there, Melissa.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I was hacked on Facebook, and I sent an email to Zuckerberg, Facebook support, and all that other stuff, and they said that their decisions are final and there's nothing I can do. And I was just wondering, is there any way I can at least get my content, my family photos and things like that off of my Facebook page? They just totally erased me from the earth.
Yeah, unfortunately, probably not.
Yeah.
Once they delete your account is gone. They probably have 90 days worth of archives. If you push them, they may be able to get it back. Why did they remove your account?
Somebody hacked into my account apparently and posted some horrible stuff, and I sent an email with my photo ID to say that wasn't me, and they still said they held up their decision. There was nobody I could argue with. That's my point. They were just like,
yeah,
that's so sad.
It is ridiculous when you think about it, Melissa.
Yeah,
we have this. We have this company.
My Outlook, my network.
Yeah, that we have. What I'm saying is that it's ridiculous that we have this company that makes billions of dollars a year, and they have no customer service department, nor do they answer any real email in any real time frame, and their decisions are final, and that's just it. You can say, well, they have all these users, how do they do that? But they are starting to change. The tides are changing. Is that Facebook is being forced due to pressure to have some type of customer service department. So in the future, that when a Facebook account gets hacked, that you might be able to actually speak to a real live human being. And if your account was hacked, and they were posting who knows what, and Facebook's trying to keep all that junk off of their network and keep it away from all their users, if they deleted your account, unfortunately, there's probably no way to get that back. I wish that it was different, but it serves as a reminder that if you've got your Facebook profile and you've got a lot of important things there, is that you want to make sure that you take the extra step and you download all your photos, you download your posts, your important messages from people. And we have the steps on how to do that over at Komando.com. And soon, like I said, we will have some hope with the Facebook customer service department. I wish I could tell you things were different, Melissa, but unfortunately, once they do that, it's, as far as I know, they're not going to go in and just reinstate it because you say that it wasn't you, and they're just, it's just kind of cutthroat like that when it comes to having accounts and content that they like, content that they don't like. And I say they being Facebook. Melissa, I wish I had better news, but I don't. But I do appreciate your call. Hacking is such a problem on Facebook that they have a dedicated portal just for you. That's right. You can go to facebook.com/hacked. You're going to be asked to enter your phone number that's linked to your Facebook account. And if the number matches the registered number that you had when you signed up with your account, Facebook is going to help you get your account back. So again, an address to remember is facebook.com/hacked. How sad is that? They have such a big problem with hacking that they have to have a whole portal about what to do with it. Why don't they just figure out how to stop all these accounts from getting hacked in the first place? Ugh, so frustrating. All right. How do you find someone's email address? Because you want to send them a note. It happened to me this past week, and it's like, how do I find out this person's email address over at Gannett? So I actually asked Allie because she used to work there, and she gave me the answer. But maybe you don't have that secret source in your back pocket. So you can go ahead and just start for a search. You would say like John Smith plus email over at Google. Now, there is a site called White Pages. And if you go to whitepages.com, you can find addresses, business details. Sometimes you get an email address. But a better one is hunter.io. It lets you search through a company's domain for an email address, and then it lists some other information. That's hunter.io. Now, with a free account, you get 25 searches a month. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay. Sometimes you can use social media sites, especially with LinkedIn. If you have a premium account, you can go ahead and direct contact them. There are also some plugins. Email Extractor for Chrome works. Email Hunter is another Chrome plugin. And you can also just guess. Because if you guess incorrectly, the mail's just going to bounce back. So normally it's first dot last name at whatever the company name is. Once again, it's first dot last name, or it could be first initial and last name. You know what I'm talking about. So sometimes it's really simple to figure out, but other times it may be shortened up. So it'd be like kimcom@komando.com, which is not my personal email address, by the way, just letting you know. But you can always send me an email through the website, and I do love to get your notes. I do. I read every single one. But anyway, in case you need more information about how to find somebody's email address, maybe you don't need it today, in the future, just remember you can head over to komando.com, and when you're there, just use the search box and say how to find email addresses. All right, still to come, we have an insider secret about how you can tell who's calling you without you picking up the phone here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, Herman, you're up next here on the Kim Komando Show. Glad to have you.
Hello, Kim. How are you today?
I'm great. I love your accent, by the way. So what's going on? How can I help you?
Well, I'm retired now, and I have a hobby which I would like to make a little bit of money off of to help pay for that hobby. And I would like to set up a website. And of course, anytime I go on the website to get information, it's very confusing. So I thought I'd come to you and see what you could tell me.
So what kind of business do you have? What's it going to do?
It's woodworking. Excuse me. I plan to visit some local art shows and such as that to sell it and have people reach me down the road.
Well, you know what? There's a couple of ways you can do this. Okay, number one, you could certainly have your own website, and you can set up the website, buy your domain, and you can do everything like that. Take orders and build a newsletter and maintain it. And the good news is that you don't have to be like a geek of the week in order to do that anymore. But
Right.
I would recommend, before you build your own website, is that you sign up at Etsy.com. That's ETSY.com. And Etsy is an online marketplace where people make things. And so,
Right.
So this way you don't have to set up a website. You don't have to maintain it. And Etsy will help process your orders, so you don't have to worry about collecting orders and credit card processing and all that other stuff. They just make it easy. They take a small percentage. But the big thing that you get when you're at Etsy, instead of you building your own website, is that if you build your own website, they won't come, okay? I mean, they won't. I mean, it's not like you're going to build a website and then everybody's just going to come and say, okay, here's this great jewelry box that Perman made and from Mobile, Alabama. Versus if you're on Etsy, what's going to happen with Etsy is that you're going to build your own online storefront, okay? And you're going to showcase your jewelry boxes. You're going to sell a few. But anybody who does a search for homemade jewelry boxed wood is that you're going to appear on the list. And then the way that you start developing your reputation, you start asking people for reviews, you do great customer service. And I think that would be far better for you to do than to start building your own website and doing crazy stuff like that. So the easiest way to get it done, once again, just make sure that you sign up and do it over at Etsy.com. That's ETSY.com. We all know that you can buy handmade things over at Etsy, but Amazon actually has a handmade section as well. So when you're at Amazon, just search for handmade items. Amazon, they get a 15% commission of anything that you sell there, and sometimes a $1 referral fee. And then they also have these professional selling plans. So if you're already on Etsy, you might consider, especially now, right before the holidays hit, make sure that you get your homemade items over on Amazon because, as I mentioned, Amazon has this whole homemade section. And if you haven't shopped there, there are some really innovative things. I got Barry a plaque for his study that says the Young Yacht Club established 2022 because that's when he got his captain's license. So, just personal gifts are always a lot of fun to give during the holidays. Hey, if you haven't already gotten your free Windows or Mac guide, what the heck are you waiting for? It's still there over at komando.com/free guides. We have one for Windows users, one's for Mac. And I bet you even you pros are going to learn a few things. And we have some really great free download links that you should also be checking out too. And that address is komando.com/free guides. Komando.com/free guides. All right, how'd you like to know who's calling you before pulling your phone out of your pocket? What happens is that normally the phone rings, then you look at the screen to see who it is, right? But what you can do is give your different contacts their own custom vibrations. And then you know from these discrete little buzzes if this is a call you can't miss or one that you should ignore. To set it up on your iPhone, you go into Contacts, then you type the person's name, tap the person's name, select Edit, and then Text Tones. And that's where you can select vibrations from a list. Maybe a heartbeat for your spouse, for example, or if your kid's away at school, it could be an alert. Then you get fancy. You can also create your own custom vibrations too. You can give also each contact a custom ringtone and a text alert sound as well. Now, if you're using an Android, you can do the same for your contacts too. Just select contacts and then more, and then the vibration pattern. And from now on, you'll know exactly who's calling without you ever picking up the phone. Yes, these are some great insider secrets that we pass along here on our show and also on our podcast. And don't forget on our website at komando.com.